She started out the week on Good Morning America, and now she is closing out the week starring in an Adidas commercial highlighting the new shoes that are about to be released. Sophie Cunningham has taken the ball and ran with it. For that, Sophie Cunningham, kudos to you.
The WNBA thought they could silence her, but Sophie Cunningham just proved she doesn't need the league. Because she is the league. After weeks of rumors, broken trust, and hidden tension within the Indiana Fever, Sophie finally stepped into the spotlight, and nothing has been the same since. What she exposed and the bold move she made next sent shockwaves out through the entire WNBA. For months, Sophie stayed silent. She gave everything on the court, stood by Caitlin Clark like family, and kept her focus while the league looked the other way. But behind the scenes, the fire was burning. Sophie had seen the truth. The disrespect toward Caitlin, the roadblocks thrown at the Fever, and how every time they tried to rise, someone tried to drag them back down until now.
Salute to Sophie Cunningham. I like the nickname. Extra spicy, electric pink. Absolutely awesome. I'm so happy to see Sophie coining it. I'd like her to get enough money to buy a house so that she can play for the team she wants.
Finally broke her silence. It wasn't through a tweet or an Instagram post. It was live on national television. Sitting under the bright lights of Good Morning America, Sophie looked straight into the camera and said with unshakable confidence, "If they don't respect us, maybe they don't deserve us." That single sentence and changed everything. Within hours, social media went into overdrive, and then came the bombshell. Adidas officially announced their new global campaign, with Sophie Cunningham front and center in her...
Not be focused on the earnings. Sophie Cunningham, folks, between her Instagram and her TikTok, I'm sure she's already racking in enough bread to buy a house.
Sophie Cunningham, this wasn't just another endorsement. This was history. Sources close to Adidas had confirmed the deal could be worth over $1 billion by 2026. A global partnership built around Sophie's vision, voice, and undeniable power. But before signing, Sophie made one shocking demand. Caitlin Clark had to be part of it. That's right, Sophie told Adidas she wouldn't move forward unless Caitlin joined the project. Loyalty, friendship, respect. That's the code Sophie lives by, and Adidas loved it. Meanwhile, chaos erupted inside the WNBA. Absolute panic behind closed doors. The Indiana Fever's front office scrambled to do damage control. Reports say Commissioner Kathy Engelbertis and Coach Stephanie White both reached out, desperate to bring Sophie back for 2026, but Sophie didn't respond. Not a single word, and really, why would she? After years of giving everything, the blood, the sweat, the heart, the league turned its back. Now the tables have turned. Sophie doesn't need the WNBA anymore. The WNBA needs Sophie Cunningham, and everyone knows it.
You was just on Good Morning America. You was all over. You got Arby's ads. Now, you're doing a lot of stuff. You're interviewing famous rappers and actors and actresses and all types of stuff. Now, you was doing your thing with the Phoenix Mercury on the sports broadcasting side.
Rooms and press conferences, whispers turned into fear. Players began to ask the question no one wanted to say out loud. If Sophie walks, who's next? Caitlin Clark? Angel Reese? The league that once seemed untouchable suddenly looked fragile, and then came the twist-as news of the Adidas deal. Dominated headlines. Angel Reese reportedly exploded with frustration. She posted a string of cryptic emojis online, a silent storm. Insiders revealed she was devastated after Adidas rejected her months ago. Now the spotlight belonged to Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. The two women who had defined 2025, the same ones Angel once called media favorites. But here's the truth. Sophie never chased fame. She earned it. She stood beside Caitlin when the league turned its back. Together, they didn't just play basketball. They built a movement on Good Morning America. Sophie wasn't promoting a brand. She was delivering a message. Her voice trembled, her eyes glistened, but every word hit with power. We play with love. We fight for respect. But respect shouldn't be begged for. It should be earned. The studio fell silent. And across the country, every WNBA player watching knew it. Sophie had just said what everyone else was too afraid to admit.
There is a different type of effort and extraness to try to maybe get in their head or try to throw them off their rhythm or whatever. And a majority of the times, those superstars, they don't have that kind of feisty or sassiness to kind of back themselves up, and they need their teammates to do that.
Yeah.
And I have first-handedly seen it this year. And I'm like, all right, like if we're not going to protect our star, like someone has to. And so I credit Draymond. I'm like, has he taken things a little bit too far?
And when Caitlin Clark reposted Sophie's interview with a single E emoji, the internet erupted. Millions flooded the comments. Fans everywhere were saying the same thing. This is the new era. They don't need the WNBA. The WNBA needs them. Inside the Indiana Fever, panic turned to desperation. Reports say Coach Stephanie White personally reached out pleading, "Sophie, we built this team for you and Caitlin. Don't walk away now." But Sophie stayed silent, not out of bitterness, but because she had already moved on to something bigger. Global stage, Adidas, Caitlin by her side. This wasn't about basketball anymore. It was about legacy. The Fever wanted her back for 2026, but Sophie was already building her own empire. Picture it, the world's biggest sports brand, the two most powerful women in basketball, and a $1 billion deal. That would change everything.
$600,000 a year, that's enough for a house. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a max contract to get Sophie Cunningham to stay on the Indiana Fever. It just needs to be a quality contract. We respect what you've done for our franchise contract. We understand what you contribute to this team contract. We're not going to undervalue your contribution to contract. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be some massive deal, because I wouldn't give her a max deal either. I'd give her something close to, but I can't give you a max deal when I'm getting ready to pay Caitlin a max deal once her rookie contract's up, right? You get the third year, and then you can extend her and hit her with that rookie extension. I'm sure that's going to be in the CBA. You're going to get ready to pay Caitlin a max contract. You're going to get ready to pay AB, I'm assuming the Indiana Fever, a max contract. Do you want a Sophie
and Caitlin, side by side. Not competing for the spotlight, but redefining what respect in women's sports truly means. Adidas sees it. Fans see it. And now, even the All-Yamba realizes the truth. You can replace players, but you can't replace energy, loyalty, and courage. And Sophie Cunningham, she has all three. As the league watches in silence, one thing has never been clearer. Sophie isn't walking away. She's rising above. The WNBA